What if sound itself isn't just something you hear, but something that shapes reality itself? Ancient cultures believed entire civilizations were built and destroyed by resonance. Today, sound healing is back in the spotlight, but few are asking the real question: why now? Tonight, we explore the forgotten science, the lost history, and the echoes of Atlantis that may still be vibrating through us today. Welcome to ParaTruth.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of ParaTruth Reborn. We are live on 107.7 FM in New Orleans, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast, and the United Public Radio Network. My name is Eric.
And I'm Justin.
Now, before we get going here, we just want to give a shout out to Kat Ward from Paranormal Heart. If you haven't checked out her show, it's amazing and encourages people to share their paranormal stories. She'll be out for a few weeks due to cataract surgery. However, keep her in your thoughts and prayers so that she heals up and gets back to you guys quick. Check her out every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, you guys have heard us talk a little bit about this over the last few weeks, so I'm sure you've probably heard about sound baths or singing bowls. Maybe even dismissed them as trendy, I suppose. But what if I told you that these practices are rooted in profound ancient wisdom, backed by groundbreaking science? Prepare to have your perception shattered as we reveal how resonant frequencies from indigenous chants to Tibetan bowls genuinely impact your entire being.
Have you ever had a sound bath?
I have not had a sound bath specifically. I have heard of them. I have seen videos of them and whatnot. They look pretty cool. They look fun. But I personally have not done it.
Myself and Shelly did one with acupuncture. It wasn't like a full acupuncture. They just put needles into certain points.
So yes, acupuncture.
I mean,
What do you mean?
wasn't a full session where you're kind of covered from head to toe.
I see. It's
But,
it's just a fetish. We just put needles in us and enjoy the pain.
It actually isn't painful, to be honest. It was actually shocking. However, it is very hard to relax with 10 to 12 different other people in there, especially when an old woman above you, meaning she's right next to me, above my head, is sitting there and snoring and farting.
You got a couple baths that day.
Yeah. So, and I've said this multiple times over the past couple years here, or couple weeks here, is that I cannot get deep enough to meditate, especially if there's a bunch of other people around me now. So, I would try it again, but the place that we went was not the greatest.
I see. See, I would prefer the sound bath, obviously, if I was just alone. No other people around.
I think so too.
Just, and yeah, I could play music really loud. I kind of worry about the cat's ears because I always wonder how he doesn't get affected by the TV that I play because I can't hear the TV, so I blast it. I know their ears have to hurt, right? I don't know.
Well, the dog too, when I bring him in the car, I mean, I'm not playing the radio super low or anything.
Well, either way, sound baths are something that seem to have been up and coming over the last year or so. They're becoming more popular amongst a number of different types of people. So let's go a little beyond the buzz, though, and because this actually stems way back into ancient times as well.
Mhm.
But when it comes to today, like what has sparked the modern fascination with sound healing versus its deep historical roots?
Well, now this is something that I have pondered for a while. But the modern fascination with sound healing is driven by a search for non-evasive stress relief in a high-tech world, bolstered by emerging scientific validation of ancient practices. Now, while today's trends focus on sound baths for wellness, it goes way deeper than that. It has deep roots in thousands of years of traditional medicine, ranging from Egyptian chants, Tibetan singing bowls, and shamanic drumming used for spiritual and physical healing. Sound has long been considered practical by using certain sound waves to connect a healing vibrational current. I know it goes back past the Egyptians and ancient Rome and ancient Greeks, but it was practiced very primarily with them.
Yeah, for sure. Your mic just dropped out at the end there. I can hear you, but you're very muffled again. Um, but yeah, it does go back to Egypt and ancient Greeks, and it's something that again is becoming so popular over the last couple of years. And I see this stuff on TikTok. I see it on YouTube. When I go to find chakra cleansing music or meditation music, there's always some sort of historical or explanational type of video about sound baths or the significance of a sound bath.
Mhm.
So it's not surprising that more and more people are getting hooked on this, especially in such a high tech world. We kind of find a way to release that energy that we have, or those struggles, anxiety, the depression, the headaches. Even I've used it for headaches. Music in general. I mean, but yeah, music is becoming, and sound in general is becoming very popular because a lot of us have headphones on anyway. Why not, listen to something that helps our bodies, right, and our spirits.
Well, I mean, look at ultrasound. I mean, that's been a technology that's been used for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%, 100%. But with all that said, can you tell us, like, what has been the prevalence of sound as therapy across the millennia?
Well, it's been used in a number of different methods, including voice, rhythm, instruments, to influence physical and mental health. I've used binaural beats before, and there's so many other things you can use. Historically, it has been used to induce altered states of consciousness, reduce stress, manage pain, which is fascinating to me, and promote relaxation, which is typically what I use it for. Of course, it
Mhm.
goes well beyond that. There have also been significant scientific studies that plants and animals also respond to music in either a positive or negative way, uh, depending on the type of music or sounds that are played. Like we just mentioned, we're playing loud music or loud TV, but our animals aren't really responding in any significant way that we know of, but it may be stressing them out. They just aren't voicing it. Um, now, when speaking of historical practice, however, sound baths actually have ancient roots and have been used for thousands of years for healing purposes. Egyptian priests, for example, used chanting, incantations, and instruments like the sistrum to heal. The Egyptians even built temples acoustically created to amplify such sounds. Ancient Greek philosophy, particularly from Pythagoras, if you know the Pythagorean theorem, same guy, involved using music for healing 40,000 years ago. Or for over 40,000 years ago. Shamanic practices have used drumming and chanting, and Tibetan singing bowls, mantras, and chimes have been used in Buddhist and Hindu traditions to promote meditation and relaxation. Uh, Today, much of this still exists and is used as a form of sound therapy through binaural beats, like I mentioned, sound baths, which we've mentioned, and frequency therapies to promote healing and treat anxiety, stress, and pain.
You notice a lot on YouTube that there is plenty of videos for sound for animals, therapeutic sound for animals to help release stress and anxiety, especially when their owners are away from the home. That's when they're typically played. But also for plants,
Mm.
I see those all the time too. Now, I can say with pretty good um, clarification, I guess, that the music for cats, for beings, does tend to work. It seems to settle him down, and I can usually tell when he's like stressed out by sound versus when he's not. And of course, that all comes down to just knowing your pet, right? That's
Mm.
that simple, the way he reacts. But with him, pointing at ears, tail changing, either the way he holds his tail or fluffs up or whatever, or you can just see his eyes are like normal and sleepy, and all of a sudden, like, what the hell is happening? Right. So it's it's pretty easy to tell. I will say I've never had success with plant music though, plant therapy.
Well,
At least I don't think so.
I've talked to plants. Like when I was growing my garden, the 2 years that I actually did it,
Mhm.
I would always talk to them when I was either planting them or watering them, even when I was picking vegetables off of it. Um, don't think I ever sang to them,
Mhm.
but something that there was a study, and it's not just sound; it's just I guess the sound of your voice and kind of intention that you're putting out there does really affect plants. I've seen the different studies, and it's really fascinating.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fascinating. I do question, like you said, you only had your garden for a couple of years. Was that because it didn't talk back and you got upset?
No,
Oh,
no, it's just life just got busier and busier, and now I was just basically sharing a garden with my mother and father-in-law, and now my mother-in-law just uh plants what she wants or asks us if there's anything specific we want,
yeah,
and we'll plant it and pick it for us.
nice. Well, that brings us to a audience question here. So I have a question for you guys. Have you ever experienced sound healing yourself, or have you experienced frequency meditation? If so, we want to hear from you. We want to know what kind of sound healing or frequency meditation you're using or doing, and how it's affected you, how it's helped you grow or heal, whether physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, etc. Let us know. We're definitely interested in that. I will say that when I get depressed, when I'm anxious, when I'm frustrated, things like that, I'm going to say when I'm tired, but I don't sleep regardless. So, but I use music often for those things, and they do help. They really, at least they have helped me most times. There are, of course, occasions where just nothing breaks through the anxiety, nothing can break through. If I'm angry about something, or I'm really just overthinking, I fall into these spirals, so it doesn't really help at times there. But I will still play it in hopes that maybe it's kind of opening a little trail, to lead me away from this little spiral that I'm going down. But I don't know if it's for everybody, but I think that there are certain frequencies, like if you do frequency meditation or therapy, I think there are frequencies that each of us resonate at differently. Um,
Different frequencies actually help different things too.
well, they do, yes, I know that, but I mean, I think that on a whole, there are certain frequencies that some of us will tune into that others don't. Like there are frequencies that I know that I like, that I have friends who do not like that frequency. It drives them crazy. And I was actually just having a conversation about that earlier today, because my friend knew that I was leaving work early to come home and do the show, obviously, since we were working late. But it's just fascinating how our interest or the way we feel toward a certain frequency is fully dependent on who we are as people and how we live our lives, I guess.
Did you know that there's a frequency that you can hear or you can't hear, but you can feel it, especially if you're sensitive?
Yeah, I did, and I don't know if I've ever felt that or not. I try to keep aware of those things. I do notice, and I don't know if this is a thing or not, but I will notice that when I'm laying in bed at night, I feel a vibration of the bed, um, and I can't figure it out. I don't know what it is. Like I always think it's me shaking, like no, I'm sure it's like uh like uncontrolled muscle movement. I guess that's the only way I can think of it. Um, but it feels like the whole bed is shaking, and I always think it's like my legs or something, but it
Mm.
isn't. So I don't know if that's something that I'm feeling that isn't. Like if is it sound waves? Is it something else? I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. I'm on a lot of medicine. I don't know.
I mean, I've always had an issue sleeping, and then I jump like it feels like I was falling out of something and land on the bed. That's
Yeah,
how hard I jump. But I don't know if I've ever noticed vibration on the bed at all. That's interesting.
yeah, it's weird. I feel it almost every single night. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Hmm.
One day maybe I'll be enlightened eventually,
Maybe.
and they'll say, I'll learn that it's nope. It's just your body doesn't know what it's doing. It's just acting upon itself.
Hey
Oh,
there, Zundro Dragon. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Sun Dragon? Is it? Sun?
Sun Dragon? Maybe it's Sun Dragon. There's that Z just throws me off. Okay, so question for you.
Okay.
What are examples of ceremonial chants and vibrational medicine of indigenous culture?
Uh, there's actually quite a few, and I think all of them more or less kind of have evolved in some way that we use in the sense that we use them today. But one of the first ones is the Navajo sings. These are healing ceremonies. Basically, medicine people used specific long form chants, such as the Night Way, the Mountain Way, or the Beauty Way, to restore balance to a patient. Um, Another one was the Acaros, the Amazonian shamanic songs sung by the shamans during, I think it's the ayahuasca ceremonies.
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. See, we all know how bad I am with words.
I only know it because I've seen it and have always been fascinated about it. If I ever try it, I better have somebody to guide me because I'll probably go nuts.
Yeah.
So,
Well, during these ayahuasca ceremonies, these were not merely sung, but more so received from plant spirits to guide visions, cleanse energy blockages, and facilitate deep emotional healings. And now we've talked about this a few times on the show, actually, where the idea of being out in nature, being around the spirit of nature, kind of helps to revive people in many instances, whether it's by the ocean or it's in the woods, like myself, or in the mountains, in the desert. So this idea of receiving energy from plant spirits, I don't think is so weird. This is something that's been studied. We know that they're living things. They actually eat, they live, they breathe, et cetera, et cetera. So I find that really interesting. Another is the Sundance songs. This is by the Plain Tribes. It's an intense, rhythmic, and repetitive song or type of song. These chants are usually used to offer prayers for the community, honor ancestors, and even seek blessings from the Creator. Then we have healing songs from Peru, specifically songs that are used for particular ailments, such as the why can't they just
I think it's
do the
Ekkrite
amendments?
Esua.
What he said for headaches.
And by Hichidagang.
See, I would have definitely
Dine.
said a swear word there if I had read that. We also have the sweat lodge songs, which are sung during purification rituals to help participants release mental, emotional, and spiritual toxins.
I
Then,
know
of
that the
course,
Vikings did that a
yeah,
lot.
they did. They did do that a lot. And there are quite a few different tribes that have done it in general.
Mhm.
Um, there's like, what do they call it? Like, I mean, in a way, like people say that singing in general, like if you sing, not just listen to music, but if you take the time to sing, it kind of purifies yourself, like your emotional state. It makes you happier.
Mhm.
If you're depressed, singing a song can help you come out of that funk, and that's something that's like studied regularly nowadays still. But when it comes to vibrational medicine of indigenous people, there are a couple of different things. This isn't nearly as expanded as the others, but there is the drumming or the heartbeat of Mother Earth. This is the rhythmic, steady, and repetitive sound of the drum, which is designed to induce a deep relaxation, promote emotional healing, and resonate with the human spirit. And we have scientific evidence that there seems to be a heartbeat at the center of the earth, which resonates through the entirety of the earth. So, this is something that ancient civilizations were doing already and already believed that this was a heartbeat of Mother Earth that they were following. And now we have here in 2026, 2025, technically, this scientific evidence that shows that Earth does have, in a sense, a heartbeat. Then there's the rattles and the shakers. They're used to cleanse a person's energy field, directing, removing, or even shifting negative energy away from the body. Uh, Many of us still sometimes do that. You might use shakers in your practice. Another one that we all probably, or not all, but a lot of us probably use is smudging, right? Scent and various smokes. And I want to be careful here. Like smudging, I'm not saying, I think a lot of people think when you say smudging, you think white sage. That's what you typically
Mhm.
smudge with. But you can smudge with literally any scent that you want to. Smudge isn't necessarily a form of uh, plant that you're using, it's just a practice. So in this case, smudging being a scent and smoke is, though I would say commonly associated with cleansing, which it is, the burning of four sacred medicines, though sage, cedar, tobacco, and sweetgrass, it creates a sacred atmosphere that acts as a form of vibrational and energetic clearing. The idea being that when you use smudging, and especially these four sacred medicines, you not only cleanse the area, but you raise the vibrational energy within that area. And that's the important thing for healing is raising vibrations. The lower the vibration, you know, the less likely it is to help healing. So we gotta kind of raise it up and bring that enlightenment in. Then there's voice and breath work, and this is the act of chanting itself, or the use of breath, such as a Navajo unraveling ceremonies, where Dawn's breath is inhaled and then acts as a direct vibration to alter a person's state of health. You might have done this plenty of times if you've done like yoga, and at the end you do the ums, the and you feel that vibration. That's what we're talking about here. And then finally, there's the talking circles when it comes to vibrational practices. And these are gatherings in which they utilize their vibration of collective focused attention and sound to build community support and emotional healing.
All right. Well, can you tell us what are the sophisticated musical theories and therapeutic applications of ancient Eastern civilizations?
Yeah. Um, so some ancient Eastern civilizations, particularly China and India, had developed highly sophisticated musical theories that intertwined mathematics, philosophy, and cosmology or cosmology
Cosmology is
cosmology
right.
to create profound therapeutic applications. Now, these systems were based on the understanding that music, as sound, vibration, and frequency, could harmonize the body's vital energy, chi or prana, balance emotions, and heal physical ailments. Now, when it comes to traditional Chinese medicine, they often use, or it was often used, uh, as music as a primary healing modality, summarized by the phrase music before medicine, with the Chinese characters for medicine and music sharing a common root. And that's really interesting because we kind of see that in more of the in some of the new age works, right? When we start thinking of Reiki and various energy practices, where instead of turning to medicine, you turn to energy and try to heal the energy in order to heal the physical. Now, there are 5 phases or elements in theory developed during the Yellow Emperor era, which is roughly 2698 to 2598 BC. The theory links that the pentatonic scale to the 5 elements, which is earth, metal, wood, fire, and water, and the 5 Zhang organs, the spleen, the lung, the liver, the heart, the kidney, and the 5 emotions. Now, the application to these 5 phases of music therapy are as follows. There's Ju, which is wood and liver, which characterized as bright and cheerful. It is used to soothe liver qi and treat anger, or conversely, to stimulate energy. Then there's Si, fire and heart, which is warm and relaxing. This music regulates blood circulation and treats restlessness or anxiety. Then we have Gong, which is earth and spleen. This tends to be more mellow and heavy and used for improving digestion and stabilizing thinking. Then we have Sheng, which is metal and lung, and this is resounding and solemn. Often it strengthens the lung function. And then finally we have Yu, which is
Me?
yes, Yu. Wow, how long were you waiting for that? Um, so Yu represents water and kidney, and this is a plaintive and gentle type of music, which aids the kidney in consolidating essence and relieving fear. Now, on top of that, there is the 6 healing sounds, which is the Liu Ziju, Daoist.
Qigong.
Yeah, I was gonna say qigong. Is it
Yeah.
qigong technique that combines specific vocal sounds, breathing, and movement to purge stale qi and balance internal organs. Now, in ancient India, there's this raga chikita and nada yoga. Now, in Indian classical music, it's considered a type of music, a divine form of energy, basically. It's a specialized branch of the Ayurveda that uses specific ragas or melodic frameworks to cure mental and physical ailments. And this goes on with like the theory itself, as we were talking about earlier, which is the Nada Yoga and the Rasas, which is the system that focuses on nada or sound vibration and the 11 basic emotions of mood that music evokes. Ragas are assigned to specific times of the day or seasons to align with the body's natural biorhythms. So, for example, these applications might be Raga Darbari and Jogiai, which is used to enhance focus, reduce stress, and aid in emotional regulation and introspection. Then we have the Raga blah 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 Shankara Bharanam, I believe it is, which is used to treat mental disorders and soothe turbulence and restore harmony. Then we had the Raga Begasheri, which is employed for treating anxiety, depression, and insomnia. And then vibrational healing, of course, which is the use of instruments like the vina or the blowing of a conch shell, uh, which is believed to cleanse the body's energy centers, like the chakras in particular, and even kill bacteria. And then there are, of course, a couple of other traditions, Eastern traditions. These are ones that are not as well known, but Mesopotamia, Tibet, Nepal, and even Ottoman Islamic regions have also used various types of music. Mesopotamia, in particular, used cuneiform tablets, which showed the use of hymns and incantations accompanied by stringed instruments like lyres to invoke deities or for healing. Tibet and Nepal used Himalayan singing bowls, which were used for centuries in rituals to produce vibrations that promote deep relaxation and reduce physical pain. Then you have the Ottoman Islamic region, which, influenced by Greek and Persian traditions, physicians would typically use music modes to treat ailments like melancholia, paralysis, and insomnia. Binks is going
A
crazy.
ghost or a cat?
It's a cat.
So we have another audience question here for you. Do you believe ancient civilizations understood science we've forgotten? I'll give a simple answer of yes. I think a lot of technology that was used back then has been forgotten today in lieu of the electronic age and the technology that we have in our hands and what we're using right now to broadcast as well.
Mm-hmm. So obviously it's like the idea of using music and vibration is very intricate. It goes back very far in Mesopotamia and other ancient cultures.
Yep.
And it digs so deep that you can literally you probably get a college degree in this stuff, which we don't have, clearly.
I mean, there are probably doctorates that are surrounded around sound therapy for sure.
Oh, 100%. But nonetheless, it's like you think about how far back this goes. I mean, we're talking, was it 2698 BC? Like, it's a long time ago. And here we are today, still utilizing the same concept in order to try to heal our bodies, our emotions, our spiritual beings, things like that. And it's crazy to think that after all this time, science is just now starting to crack the understanding of how this works, of how vibration and music work in particular with individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And not just people, but also objects like plants and other living creatures like animals.
Well, there was even theories that, the pyramids were built by using sound technology to move the stones instead of humans.
That would be interesting. I actually haven't considered that. Like using sound waves to literally move them.
To levitate them
up.
and move them, yeah.
I can only imagine what kind of sound wave would do that without killing everybody around.
Well, that's why it's a theory. The more popular theory is still, slaves had rope, like a rope and pulley system.
Yeah, some elephants.
Yeah,
giant creatures, dinosaurs.
Yeah. Dinosaurs.
I don't know. Well, so I mean, we've talked kind of pretty in depth here, but one thing we want to try to figure out is how exactly sound impacts a person, because we have talked about it healing and potentially helping us in various ways, but we haven't really talked about the science behind it. Like, how does it happen? So while I take a breather here, can you, Justin, tell the audience what the impact of sound has on matter and even on cells, because it does go that deep.
Yeah. So sound can actually alter cells in a non-invasive way, and can be used to manipulate cells, tissue, and molecular states. Some ways that this works is by example, gene expression and behavior. This was research done by the Kyoto University, and they found that audible sound waves can alter the activity of over 190 genes, specifically influencing cell adhesion and fat cell formation, which is so odd to me. Um, Listening cells, cells that possess mechanosensitive pathways that respond to acoustic pressure, a 440 hertz tone can significantly inhibit pre preadipocytes. I thought some of yours were bad
You
from
ever would
becoming
sit here
fat
and think,
cells.
like, why do we do this? Why do we put ourselves through this every week?
It basically it stops fat cells from forming. That
Mm,
we'll go with that.
like it.
Therapeutic potential. Sound vibrations have been shown to boost collagen production and aid in wound healing and influence neuro- neuronal maturation. Okay, it's really late. Cellular morphology studies on E. coli show that high intensity sound can alter the physical length of bacterial cells, causing them to increase in size. I feel that would be a bad thing. Um, Impact on matter, resonance and structure, sound vibrations can reorganize matter with potential applications and creating new materials. Sound creates pressure waves that lead to micro vibrations, enabling the synchronization of molecular patterns as well.
So, I mean, and that's, to think that sound actually does create like these micro vibrations that can basically synchronize, and in some cases even separate molecular patterns is kind of crazy, because that's like to do things on a molecular level. Like, these micro vibrations have to work pretty hard, and we're talking like much deeper than obviously just the typical physical state.
Mhm.
It's the matter itself. Um, but there is like specific beats or specific frequencies that actually shift mental states, because one thing that a lot of people tend to listen to music for is obviously stress or anxiety. I think anybody who's just had a rough day or who's going through something, and even if they're depressed, I know a lot of people, I don't know why people do this, listen to sad music when you're sad. It makes no sense, but people do it.
I
If
mean, I listen to angry music when I'm angry.
it
So
makes no sense, it just
and
makes
then
you more angry.
well,
Like,
yeah.
what?
And I mean, we did do an episode on something like this years ago about how different types of songs can sway an audience towards one specific emotion or another.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Um, but binaural beats do shift mental states in a couple of different ways, but also there are specific frequency states um that are used in order to manipulate our minds and kind of set us in a certain pattern. So, how do binaural beats and specific frequencies shift those mental states, though?
Well, I've been working with binaural beats for at least a year and a half now, on trying to help me balance my emotional state and even energy wise. Binaural beats shift mental states by using brainwave entrainment, where playing slightly different sound frequencies in each ear causes the brain to perceive a third beat, which blows my mind.
Mhm.
Um, and it aligns its electrical activity to it. This auditory illusion can induce states like deep sleep, which is delta, meditation, which is theta, relaxed alertness, which is alpha, and focus, which is beta. Um, so delta is zero point 0.5 to 4 hertz, promotes deep, dreamless sleep and relaxation, which fascinates me because I've always been told dreamless sleep is not the best sleep you can get. You're not deep enough into sleep if you're having dreamless sleep.
Yeah.
Um, theta, which is 4 to 8 hertz, linked to deep meditation, REM sleep, and improved memory recall. Alpha waves, which is 8 to 13 hertz, encourages a state of relaxed alertness, which can reduce stress and improve focus. And beta waves, which is 11 to 13 hertz, associated with heightened alertness and concentration and better problem solving.
Mm. And these are things that are like, I mean, you can get these in an app on your phone for free that you can.
You can look them up on YouTube, even.
Yeah, you can look at both YouTube. I've got this app. I'm sure everybody's heard of it called Better Sleep. It's really
Yeah.
fun app. I enjoy that one. But yeah, you know, I mean, all of these are very easy to find, and I suggest testing each of them out. I do know that like when it comes to like the beta, it drives me crazy. I don't like the beta example here, 13 to 30 hertz. I cannot stand the sound of it. Um, it makes me on edge. So it like pretty much does the opposite of everything it's supposed to do. But that's what I always talk about at the very beginning of the show. Where
You're also a very anxious person,
Oh, that's
so it might be the reason.
it could be. But you know, that's what I'm saying is like at the beginning of the show when I said that we all have kind of like this our own vibrational awareness. Like there are some vibrations that sync with us and some that just don't. Well, for someone else, it might be the opposite. So it's just really all dependent on who you are, you know, what your mind is like, what your body like, et cetera, et cetera. But nonetheless, like this stuff really does. I think this stuff really does work. I have had success with the Delta and the Theta, for sure. The Alpha, I've not really messed with the Alpha all that much. I know it encourages a state of relaxed alertness, but there's something about the words relaxed and alert that don't seem to sync for me. It doesn't make much sense at all, but apparently it does. But one thing that actually we don't ever talk about when it comes to sound is the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is something that I learned about actually not too long ago. Goodness, this is probably like 3-4 years ago. One of the last times I was out there in North Dakota, because I had learned that you can actually stretch the vagus nerve.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I gave myself a migraine by doing it. Since then, it has not done that. It's been very helpful. But the vagus nerve is actually really interesting. To me, it is anyway. So, just kind of briefly, like, what is the vagus nerve exactly, and what's its role when it comes to meditating and the body's relaxation response?
So I've actually seen a lot of research being done with the vagus nerve in dogs, and so if you have a very high anxiety or high energy dog, calming their vagus nerve is supposed to help with training and getting them to obey commands. The vagus nerve is actual cranial nerve X. It's the longest, most far-reaching nerve in the autonomic nervous system, connecting the brain stem to major organs like the heart, the lungs, and the gut, to regulate resting functions like heart rate, digestion, and immunity. It acts as a hyperhighway of relaxation by shifting the body out of fight or flight mode, which is sometimes good to have, but you shouldn't always be in fight or flight mode. And a lot of people that are anxious all the time, their vagus nerve is overstimulated. So that's what causes that. The vagus nerve plays a key role in the rest and digest response, and auditory input can trigger it through specific mechanisms such as ear branch stimulation, vocal cord vibrations, and the social engagement system.
Well, then that comes to our audience question then. Because do you think that sound can physically affect the human body, or have you had experience in sound physically affecting you in one way or another? If so, again, we want to hear from you. We want to know what type of sound you use and how it physically affected you, um, and whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think I've ever had like a truly bad experience when it comes to sound physically affecting me. I think there are certain sounds that do
Well,
take.
that's not true because you just said
Well,
theta waves make you nuts.
I
So
mean, well, I meant bad as in like I'm tripping and it's just like I got a headache and I'm getting sick and God knows. I mean, there has been um, more conspiracy than anything, I suppose, at this point. But there have been models in which there have been experiments done using sound waves in order to make people ill, to
yeah.
actually make people gag and get sick and like sick. Uh, so
I
I've
mean,
had
there's
experience
been
with that.
experimentation that was supposed to be supposedly they call it the brown note that's supposed to make you poop your pants.
Okay,
Like,
I'm gonna stay away from that one.
so I mean, I've heard of that too. Um,
No, who came up with that name? Come on.
I mean, it was brought up on a cartoon, but I looked it up and it is a real thing too.
No.
Um, so we're to modern applications and clinical evidence. So, what is some contemporary research on sound therapy for pain management, anxiety, and PTSD?
Yeah, well, when it comes to pain management, research indicates that sound therapy, in particular sound baths and binaural beats, tend to reduce reliance on pain medication and can actually lower pain scores, especially when integrated with conventional care. And this is something that is actually being used more and more. Even doctors are trying to pull people off of medications and use music and other such things to help promote healing and better health without the reliance of medication. And then, of course, when it comes to anxiety reduction, sound interventions typically include listening to nature sounds or soothing music, which reduce physiological markers of stress like heart rate or cortisol levels. Music therapy even has been shown to reduce anxiety scores by about 1.87 points in patient populations. I know, like, even at things, you guys probably heard this, but like, since Binks is like our mascot here, one of them, uh, listening to him purr every night while I'm falling asleep, it actually puts me to sleep because a cat's purr resonates with the healing aspect of our bodies. It, and like it's incredible how it's just something like that, like you know, an animal that probably what shouldn't have been domesticated initially, I suppose, is capable of healing us, even to the point of actually healing like physical wounds per science, which is kind of crazy.
I was just looking at some of our comments in the
Oh yeah.
chat there. So, something that it has been I've heard a lot is what that girl brought up um, is like the noise from the lights in a store, and it's actually been proven that that is to get you out of the store faster, um, and it can cause migraines and stuff like that too. So
I was like McDonald's. So I mean, I'm sure everybody has like a modern McDonald's around them now. But do you remember the old McDonald's, like when they had the red and yellow chairs or like
mm,
benches?
yep.
So I watched a documentary on McDonald's, and they actually used those red and yellow ones because they didn't want people staying at the McDonald's to eat their food. And because those colors are so distasteful, it would usually usher people away to take their food home with them. And it wasn't until, several years back when they decided to remodel and make it a place where people come hang out. Not music related, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Now, there are some studies that actually show that both individual and group music therapy, drumming and listening in particular, can significantly decrease PTSD symptoms, including anxiety, by helping to process emotions and regulate arousal.
So, what have some medical professionals or researchers integrated sound into clinical settings?
Um, well, since this is kind of like more recent of a case, some medical professionals have actually, and researchers have actually integrated sound into clinical settings through diagnostic imaging, so like ultrasound, also through therapeutic treatments such as focused ultrasound surgery and low intensity pulsed ultrasound. And then, of course, advanced diagnostics using vocal biomarkers to detect diseases like COVID-19. I know we're all sick of hearing it. Um, and then sound is also used for real-time monitoring of blood flow, guiding procedures like biopsies and even potentially treating neurological disorders on top of that.
And what are some innovative technologies for sound therapy?
One of the most innovative is I think it's the vibroacoustic therapy, or VAT, which is a system like a Sound Oasis VTS 2000. You guys know what that is, right? Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, sorry. But there's a system like called the Sound Oasis VTS 2000, which uses transducers basically in chairs or mats to deliver low frequency sound vibrations directly into the body, which basically stimulates the vagus nerve and reduces physical tension. Um, Sage Space Technologies actually offers sensory lounges that combine this particular technology with light therapy on top of it. Which, light therapy is a whole nother rabbit hole when it
Oh,
comes
yeah.
to these therapies. Another one is the haptic and heartbeat synchronization, which is devices like one is called a Therabody's Therabind. That's the whole word, which utilizes entertainment, creating vibrations and audio that sync with or move slower than the user's heartbeat to encourage a calmer, slower heart rate. And this is something, I mean, they have that's a very, I don't know, like you don't even need a device like that, I think, to do it because this has been around a long time. Like listening to a clock ticking, for example, can help lower the heart rate. Now I know that listening to a clock drives people crazy. It puts me to sleep personally, but those type of movements that tend to beat slower or about average for a heart rate that bring that down.
Mhm.
Then there's the bimodal neuromodulation, which is tinnitus relief, which is if you're as old as we are, you probably are dealing with tinnitus, I'm sure.
Yeah, I need to try this therapy out.
Basically, a linear, which is a device approved for tinnitus, combines sound therapy via headphones with gentle electrical pulses applied to the tongue to retrain the brain's perception of sound.
I would like to read more on this because I'm curious why it has to be on the tongue.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, no, I don't know either. I thought I did maybe. I thought maybe there's a little bit of enlightenment in there somewhere, but no.
I mean, I know that the mouth and the sinuses are connected, so maybe that has to do with the hearing as well.
It could be. Absolutely could be. There's two more things here that actually are pretty helpful. One is the 3D spatial audio and binaural beat apps, which I don't know if you guys have seen those or if I get a lot of these type of apps that pop up as like recommendations just because I listen to a lot of these type of things regularly. But there is one tool in particular, such as the Ahead app, which is AHEAD app, which delivers specialized immersive 3D soundscapes to induce a specific brainwave state like delta sleep or theta meditation. And again, these are things on YouTube that you can easily find.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, there's the intelligent sound machines, which are modern sound systems, such as those from InHarmony, which integrate with apps to allow users to customize frequency based sessions for better focus or sleep or really whatever it is you need, you know? And so when we get to the end of like the modern applications of clinical evidence, which I mean, clinical evidence is pretty broad at this point. Like there's a lot of evidence that supports sound as being useful when it comes to therapy and healing. But there's also this thing that you have to consider, which is your personal frequency and integrating sound wisdom. And this is what I was kind of saying earlier in the show, and a couple times throughout the show, is how do we use it for ourselves? Because it doesn't always work for everybody, or certain things don't always work for everybody. But Justin, I want to turn it back around to you. So, what are some practical or even accessible ways that viewers or listeners can explore sound for basically well-being at home?
Well, Eric, I thought you would never ask, because
Oh,
this is the best part of the show, is how do you integrate it into your life. Some things that are super simple are vocalizing, for example, humming and chanting. Simply humming or chanting for 2 to 3 minutes creates vibrations that calm the nervous system. Vocal toning involves sustained vowel sounds to direct calming energy to different body parts. Something that Eric brought up is the Om, and that's actually something I learned in my one book that brought me into mediumship. You use that to actually clear the pineal gland of calcification, so your third eye opens. There's active listening and soundscapes. They basically create a sound bath at your home by listening to recorded singing bowls, gongs, and chimes. Actively focus on music or nature sounds rather than playing them in the background to deepen the experience.
mhm.
There's DIY instruments, uh, where you can create rhythmic sounds by tapping on surfaces using shakers made with household items or running a wet finger around the rim of a glass. I've done that before. It doesn't always work if you're not doing it correctly, so make sure you research how to do that before you actually do it. Nature sound immersion. Listen to recordings of ocean waves, rain, or bird song to reduce anxiety. And
Which
then
is actually often used on the space shuttles. Well, not really space shuttles anymore, are they? Rockets now.
space
Space
shuttles,
shuttles, rockets, whatever. The things that go in space and fly around the Earth or to the moon. Those things.
space chuckles, whatever. Um, and the last one is, we've mentioned it numerous times here, binaural beats. Um, Definitely make sure you're using headphones when you listen to this, because these tones are meant to create that third sound that actually isn't there, which kind of helps synchronize brainwaves for relaxation, focus, and sleep.
Mhm. I do want to jump in like with the chat real quick because I do see uh, Snowdragon and Vetgirl chatting over here. Again, like it's just interesting how there are certain sounds that's like some people find really relaxing or soothing, but those same sounds for somebody else isn't at all. And I don't know if it comes down to preference or what it is, you know. And I'm sure a lot of it is preference ultimately, you know.
Hmm.
I mean, there's plenty of things that I like that you don't like, and vice versa. Um, but I do agree, Sundragon, that singing bowls, chimes, things like that are definitely sounds that soothe me as well. I love. There are two things that I really love actually here. So I live near a train track. About a mile away is is a track, and so roughly every single night, like midnight or so, a train goes by. You know, honking that horn. Can they honk? They do something with horns, but you know what I mean.
A train
A train,
whistle.
a whistle. Do they whistle still? Maybe.
It is a whistle. It's not the whistle that you really hear any, or that you heard back in the
Yeah,
day.
but it's still called a whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things. Those are wonderful. Those put me straight to bed right away.
The whistle was more of the steam engine era.
Yeah. But then also like wind chimes, like when a storm's coming in and the wind is blowing, you hear those chimes. Not mine. I don't have any chimes, but I hear neighbors' chimes. Those perfection. Love those things. One thing I do want to mention here, because I know we're kind of coming up to the end, but we just want to warn everyone, or at least guard everyone against misinformation when it comes to this stuff, and want to stress the importance of finding credible sources and practitioners if you're looking to get into sound therapy or vibrational therapy.
I would say that about pretty much anything we talk about.
Yeah, 100%. I think ultimately it's pretty safe overall, but you never know.
Right.
Ask your doctor, right? That's what they say.
The doctor will tell you you're nuts and you should do regular medicine instead of sound therapy.
You're nuts. Here's these pills. Take 20 a day. Good luck.
I mean, depending on the doctor you go to.
Right? But also we have a call to action, because we want to encourage you all to share your experiences and continue the conversation about sound's enduring power in our Facebook group. Justin, tell us about our Facebook group.
Yeah, you can find it on Facebook.
I love it. That's perfect.
It's the ParaTruthers community. If you look up ParaTruth, it should be connected to our Facebook page. But there's, I believe, 35 members right now. And we love to hear people's thoughts. And that's where we are now going to be putting the polls. If you want to be a part of the poll, you have to be in the group. We won't be putting it on our regular Facebook page. We were doing that before, but we really want to make it a close-knit thing. So if you're in our group, we will be sharing the answers of the polls on future episodes. You could also get lore cards. Basically, it's just a front and back card image of specific things that we're talking about throughout the weeks to come.
I'm enjoying the chat over here. That girl, hoofbeats, yes, those are good ones. I do that myself. You know, the whole like when you kind of do the clap with your hand and like slap your knees to get the. No, Justin, you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay,
I know what you're talking about. I just never.
You just don't care.
You
just don't. Oh, you're jealous. Okay.
No,
I understand the silence now. But
falling asleep.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I feel it. Dragon, I will say that your cat floors clicking. Cat's nails clicking on the floor. That's an odd one. You know what makes me cringe though is when Binks, he just stretches and grabs onto the couch and just rips his claws nice and slow down the edge of the couch. Dude.
Ernie does this teeth snapping thing. I think it's a kind of a nervous tick, but he'll go.
Okay.
And it's usually like he's trying to lick you and then he's stopping himself. His foster dad had taught him to not do it. So I think that's his way of stopping himself from licking. We have never not encouraged him to lick. It's a natural dog thing, but there are a lot of people that don't like it. Even trainers tell you not to allow them to do it. But
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was our episode, folks.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of information. My mind is, I might sleep well tonight, actually, just from sharing all that. But no, I've used sound therapy quite a bit especially over the last year. I use it nearly every single night. I will say also on top of it, like listening to a book while you go to sleep. That's helpful too. Sometimes it isn't about just the sound and the sound waves. It's about the voice, voice is one of them, right? So
I've used ASMR lately, and I'm usually not doing it when I go to sleep. I'm listening to it at work, but I don't know why, but it's kind of calming.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, like us, don't like us, anything like that, let us know. Or don't. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, we're not going to go where I was about to go. So, anyway,
Be
as
nice.
yeah, no, no, it had yeah, no, it was nice. Well, no, it wasn't nice. It was.
I know where you always go there when you say stuff there, so I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Anyway, as we said at the beginning of the show, this has been a live show on 107.7 FM New Orleans, 105.3 FM the Gulf Coast, and United Public Radio Network. So until next week, where you'll find us, same time and same channel, my name is Eric.
And I'm Justin.
Peace.